Problem number 6, they're giving us a derivative and they're telling us that k is a constant, which just means it's a number. They're telling us that point P, 3, 2, lies on the curve, and the normal to the curve at point P is x plus 4y equal 11. That's a perpendicular line, and it's going to be at 3, 2. And they want us to find the equation of the original curve. All right, so basically it's a good idea to kind of formulate a little strategy here because they haven't really outlined the steps. First thing we're going to do is we're going to need to find k. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the slope of the tangent line in order to find that, along with the x value of x equals 3. And then once we have k, well, then we've got a complete derivative. And then we can find the indefinite integral. And keep in mind, that's going to be plus c on there. So then the next thing we're going to do is substitute the point we know into the indefinite integral and find out what c is. And then last but not least, write the equation with c. All right, so that's our strategy. Let's go ahead. If we go start off here, we know that the perpendicular line is this. Well, if we rewrite it, we can find out the slope of the perpendicular line is going to be -4. And so if we know that the slope of the perpendicular line is -4, well then, -1/4, then we know that the slope of the tangent line has got to be +4. So we're good to go with the slope. We know it's +4. And if we can make the derivative equal to +4 and then plug in the x value of 3, well, then the only value we won't know is we won't know the k, and we can solve for k. So let's go ahead and do that. Tangent is going to be a slope of 4. And now we're going to write the derivative of 4 over square root of 2x plus k. What we're going to need to do is we can either create a proportion by making that a fraction and cross multiplying, or just multiplying both sides by square root of 2x plus k. At any rate, we got to get that out of the denominator. We're going to end up with 4 times square root of 2x plus k is equal to 4. And if we go ahead and take our x value of 3 and substitute that in place of x, well, then you'll notice we're only going to have k that we don't know. And 2 times 3 plus k, and that's going to equal 4. All right, now all I'm going to do is divide both sides by 4. And I'm going to have the square root of 6 plus k is equal to 4. I'm going to square, 1. I'm going to square both sides. And then I'm going to get 6 plus k is equal to 1. And then 6 plus k equal to 1. I just subtract 6 on both sides, and k is going to equal -5. So now I know that -5 is equal to k, and I can plug that back into a derivative. That's basically part 1 of our strategy. So now let's move on to part 2. Part 2 says we're going to find the indefinite integral, and we're going to need the derivative to do that. So we've got the derivative in respect of x is equal to 4 over square root of 2x minus 5. And all we've got to do now is rewrite this so we can get this back up in the numerator with some power. 4 times 2x minus 5, all to the -1/2 power. And then we're going to integrate this, and we're going to use the chain rule. So the first thing I'm going to do when I'm doing the chain rule, the anti-chain rule, the backwards chain rule, is I'm going to look to find out what I would have, the derivative of the inside that I would have multiplied by. Well, that's going to be 2. So instead I'm going to divide by it, or multiply by 1/2. And then there's a 4 out here, so I'm going to write this down 4. I'm going to leave a blank here because I'm not sure exactly what that number is going to be. I'm going to go ahead and put the inside 2x minus 5. And see, then what's going to happen is I'm going to add 1 to -1/2. Well, that's going to give me 1/2. Well, now I'm taking the reciprocal of that, and I'm going to put that in my blank I left. That's 2. And all I got to do now is put a plus c at the end and then clean this up by multiplying. I'm going to get y is equal to 4 times 2x minus 5 to the 1/2 plus c. And all I got to do now is figure out what c is, because that is part 2 of our strategy. So let's see, if we're going to find out c, what we've got to do is replace the x and the y with what we know is on that line, the 3 and the 2. So that's going to look like this. 3 is equal to 4 times 2 times 3 minus 5, all to the 1/2 power plus c. And again, all I got to do now is get that c by itself. If I go ahead and do the inside of these parentheses, it's going to be 4 times, well, 6 minus 5 is 1, so it's going to be 4 times 1 to the 1/2 power. 1/2 power is same thing as square rooting, so this is really 2 times 4 times 1, or 2 equals 4 times 1, so I'm going to have c is equal to -2, and now all I've got to do is my last step is substitute the -2 into my indefinite integral, and that's going to be the original curve equation. So in this case, it's going to be 4 times 2x minus 5 to the 1/2 minus 2. Okay, I appreciate you watching. I hope that helped you. And thanks for watching.